Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week at everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news. Trade is the latest partisan football, grabbing all the headlines. The world is shaking its head over the antics of US trade policy as announced on Twitter. Fortunately, there are the more substantive things going on in the world's economy. The data is in for American car and truck sales, and they tailed off in February as discounts were scaled back. Sales fell 2% overall from last February to 1.3 million vehicles. Sales by both GM and Ford were down 7%, and at Chrysler Fiat they fell 1%. At Toyota, Subaru and Volkswagen, they all reported sales gains over February last year, although they hold much smaller market shares. Separately in the US, car loan interest rates are rising, and quite quickly. According to one survey, they now average 5.2%, which is up from 3.9% 5 years ago. This latest level is the highest in 8 years, and is pushing buyers to seek lower payments by extending the length of their loans. Canada's GDP expanded at a slower pace than expected in the December quarter, marking a disappointing end to a strong year and adding worries that their economy faces stiff headwinds from American trade and tax policies. In Japan, their jobless rate fell to 2.4% in January. That's a 25-year record low, and while a ratio of job openings remained at a 44-year high, the latest sign that their labour market is tightening as growth improves. China claims a jobless rate of 3.9%. China is expecting inflation to rise to 2.5% in February. It was 1.5% in January, so that would suggest something substantial is occurring there. In Germany, both parties have agreed to their grand coalition, and it's now been consented by the SDP, so a Merkel-led continuation is in place, albeit with natural tensions between Merkel's Conservatives and her socialist allies. Meanwhile, elections are underway in Italy right now, and a result may take days to become clearer. Opinion polls are banned in Italy in the final 14 days of the campaign. Indications are for a split and confusing outcome. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield is back up to 2.87%. The gold price is also back up and will start the week at $1,323 an ounce. Gold production is rising quickly in Australia, the world's second largest producer after China. And oil prices are marginally higher today, with the US benchmark now just under $61.50 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is under $64.50 a barrel. Overnight, Russia suddenly reneged on its agreement to supply natural gas to the Ukraine and Europe. This is likely to spark an ugly trade impasse. And the Kiwi dollar will start today little change from Friday at 72.4 US cents. On the cross rates, we're at 93.3 Aussie cents and down half a cent to 58.8 euro cents. That puts the TWI at 73.5 and the bottom of its 2018 range. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.